Hey everybody, Lindsay Adler here, and today I want to invite you on location for a fashion shoot in the Valley of Fire. Many of you know me for my dramatic lighting and studio photography, but sometimes it is so relieving and invigorating to shoot in a beautiful location. I can play around with depth and dramatic compositions and things that are difficult or maybe even impossible to achieve in a studio shoot. I've always wanted to shoot at the Valley of Fire, and recently I was able to photograph my muse Renata on one of my trips to Las Vegas. She's so good. And shoulders towards me just a little more, like I still like that, but just a little smish. Good. When I shoot on location, I'm looking to make magic happen. How can I take the location, the lighting, the pose, and have them all come together to make something unforgettable? After driving out into the desert, it began with my scouting. I walked around the scene and tried to analyze the different angles I had to work with. Could I frame the subject with the environment to make a striking composition? Could I use a foreground, middle ground, and background to create depth? I seldom just have a subject stand in front of an interesting scene when I go on location. I'm looking for ways that she can interact. Could she recline in the scene, emerge from the rocks, lean back against them? This is going to allow her to get a little bit more creative with her posing, and it also anchors her to the environment. In a studio, I could print out a background of the Valley of Fire and have her stand against it. That's not what I'm looking for. On location, I want to create interaction and depth. When I shoot a location fashion editorial, I don't want my shots to look too similar, too static. Yes, I want them to feel like they're part of a story and cohesive, but I don't want everything to be the same framing or the same focal length. For that reason, I try to vary my compositions. I have shots that are wide angle and dramatic. Some shots where the subject is small in the distance, others that are very close up with just hints of the background behind them. This helps to create visual variety. It keeps the viewers engaged. I constantly move around. I get closer, further away. I change my lenses. When I change my lenses, it allows me to see my environment in a different way. I think of it like a movie. I have establishing shots, mid-length shots, close-ups, super close-ups. Each one of these works together to tell a story. For this shoot, I used the Canon R5 and 3 lenses. I shot with the Canon RF 50mm 1.2, the RF 24-70 2.8, and even the RF 15-35 2.8. I chose the 50 when I wanted to melt away the background or create very narrow depth of field. I used the 24-70 for a majority of the shots because of its flexibility. And then I used the 15-35 for some dramatic wide-angle shots where the subject just looked enveloped by the mountains. In location editorials, I love when the subject mimics the environment in some way. Maybe their pose mimics the shapes of the rocks or the clothing. In this instance, I directed my wardrobe stylist to concentrate on clothes with colors that would complement the rocks, oranges, reds, maroons, to mimic the hues in the beautiful environment. It was an overcast day for the shoot, and what I did is begin by analyzing the scene, find the environment and composition I wanted to photograph, place the subject in the scene, and then figure out which way to angle her to avoid dark shadows in her eyes. Now yes, I could have added a strobe, but I wanted the shoot to feel very natural, romantic, and organic, and a strobe just didn't seem to be the right fit for the overall mood of the images. Now, although there were thick clouds, the sun peeked out over the horizon at the end of the day just before sunset, and I eagerly squeezed in a few more shots before the day was over. In all, we shot for just over 3 hours, but we captured 12 different looks. But that wasn't the end of the shoot. Of course, the final part of the equation was the post-processing. I wanted to unite all of the color palette to be this beautiful burnt orange and red hues. I also wanted to bring saturation out of the scene. That overcast light, it was quite drab, very underwhelming, and everything looked just a little bit flat, so post-processing was key to the impact of the final images. The styling, the model, the environment, the post-processing, each one played an essential role in the results. And the results? I think they were the magic I was looking for. If you want to check out this editorial, you can find these images in L'Official, Arabia.